Pretty good. How are you?
Good. Can I help you?
Yeah, I got a couple problems. The first one is there's an officer, Roberts, who showed up over there at the mayor's office and refused to give me his name.
Okay.
Is that the way they're trained? I mean, my understanding is that they are public servants and they need to identify themselves.
Okay. If you have a complaint by policy, you have to do it in writing, and I'll be more than happy to take your complaint in writing.
Yeah.
So if you want to fill out a complaint, write it out, turn it in to me, and it'll be investigated.
Okay, that's perfect. And I've got it all on film, so that'll help you too. Is that a special form that you'll provide me with?
Just write it out on any complaint, any paper.
Okay.
Yeah.
No special form. Okay, great. Secondly, pertains to, for instance, I see that you're wearing that mask, and I noticed that it's not very form-fitting. There's gaps and leaks and stuff like that. Not to mention it's a porous material. Obviously, if it was made of plastic, you wouldn't be able to breathe. The problem is the side of the box that mask comes in from the manufacturer flatly says that this is not designed to prevent the transmission of any virus or disease. Freaking viruses are microscopic. In fact, the tests that were done found that, and we're talking very, very, very small units of measurement, but to give you an analogy, we wouldn't expect to be able to trap fish that are just 1 inch wide in a net that has 3-inch wide holes, right? Would you agree with that?
And what is your question?
No, I'm just asking, would you agree that a 1 inch wide fish can go through a hole that's 3 inches wide?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, that's common sense.
Right, I agree with you completely. And I thought it was common sense too, which is why I called the mayor this morning. I didn't even know her name or anything, but I heard about this mandatory maniacal mask mandate. And Amy eventually put me through to her, and I started by telling the mayor, I said, here's my name, here's my telephone number, and I understand you're imposing this mask requirement. Yes, that's correct. I said, well, by what authority? And I'm looking for I'm a lawyer by training and background. I'm headed to the courthouse next, but we have these other issues to deal with first. And I said, by what authority do you do that? I'm looking for a law, an edict, a ruling, or an ordinance, something. You know what she said to me? She said, I'm the mayor. As though I'm God. I'm the mayor of this town. I said it, and that's it. So then go ahead. You wanted to respond?
I don't make her decisions for her, so what she does is on her own behalf.
Well, that's partially true, but I'm also here to see how entangled you want to get in it, because she eventually hung up on me. Another one of her secretaries refused to give me her name. Denise reluctantly gave me her name and then hung up on me, which is why I had to show up in person, got nowhere, which is when I encountered your officer, Roberts, who refused to give me his name. So my question is, since I will not be wearing that mask, which not only does not accomplish the stated objective of preventing the transmission of a virus, but also reduces oxygen flow, creates increased carbon dioxide, and so on and so forth. There's plenty of studies on this. Since I will not be wearing the mask that she and all of her infinite authority has decided I must wear, what do you plan to do about it? Because you and I could get real acquainted, and I'm just trying to find out ahead of time, what do you plan to do when I show up at Walmart on Friday and refuse to wear a mask?
At this point, there's no ordinance.
It goes into effect tonight. It goes into effect tonight, she said.
The council has not ratified it.
When I asked her if she was anticipating putting into effect a mandatory mask mandate, she said yes. That's what I'm operating on.
Until the city council directs me to do something, then we don't have an ordinance at this time with a fine and or wording as far as it goes. Yeah.
And assuming that the council ratifies it, does whatever, and this becomes official on whatever questionable authority, and I'll be seeking an injunction, I'll be seeking her job before this is over. You seem perfectly nice enough to me. We've never had occasion to meet, which I'm thankful for. And as I shared with Sean, I'm the biggest supporter of law enforcement. When Hardin was in, I worked closely with him, Detective Tom Nave, to rout the riot, to get rid of the scumbags that are a plague and blight on our society. When Jason Ritchie took over, I took him a flat of strawberries and said, thank you for your service. So, you know, what I don't want to have happen is I don't want you to become the adversary to your advocate, because right now I'm your advocate. But I can tell you this, when I show up at Walmart to go get groceries for my family, if somebody gives me grief over not wearing a mask that doesn't work, I'm looking at the gaping holes all around the side of that thing right now. If I was concerned that you had COVID-19, I'd be nowhere near you right now.
I agree.
You understand?
And like I said, the only reason I'm wearing this mask at this point is because Right now, I'm on official duty.
Yes.
I do answer to the mayor and the city council. She
Wow.
has directed the city officials to wear a mask anytime they're in contact with the public.
Yeah. And whether or not it's effective, whether or not the
That's
virus is 1 micron and that only filters out 5 microns, none of that matters. We're just going to do it because, by God, the mayor said so.
I have no medical background as far as being a infectious disease doctor, so
Yeah.
at this point, I'm going to do what I'm instructed to do because that is my job.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, my job is to ask questions of my public servants.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, you have that every right, and I'll try to answer them the best I can.
I appreciate that. I sincerely do, because I want to be your advocate. Seriously, I want to be, when I see this madness that I see happening on TV, it drives me nuts, and I fear for the future that we're leaving for our children. So I want to be your ally, but I can tell you this. When I show up to Walmart on Friday and put it on your calendar, I will be there without a mask. If you and I end up in a tussle, now we have a problem. And whereas I want to be your ally, now you and I have become enemies over a mask that doesn't even accomplish its stated objective. And not only that, causes harm to people. Go ahead.
I don't have enemies over stuff that I have to do. I'll never be your enemy. You may think of me as an enemy, but I will never think of you as an enemy.
Well, but at some point you have to decide how far down the path you go. I mean, if you're going to start enforcing things that seem dubious just because, you know, well, I guess that's my job. I mean, at some point you reserve the right to think too, right? And not the least of which, because keep in mind, again, I'm a lawyer by training, sovereign immunity only covers you when you are doing the delineated duties of your profession. If you are operating in your official capacity, I think you should have sovereign immunity. I think if you're in a tussle with a bad guy who's trying to wrestle you, I'm not trying to wrestle you. You and I aren't sprawling on the ground. I'm not trying to take your gun or taser. I think that you need to have the latitude to keep yourself safe. You and I are not in a conflict right now. If it were to escalate, I think we need to yield to you. Nobody's perfect but Jesus, so if there's going to be a mistake made, it needs to be a mistake made saving your life. If I'm stupid enough to start fighting with you. So I'm all about sovereign immunity. I'm all about law enforcement. But sovereign immunity is not going to cover you if you've stepped outside of your official capacity. If you're doing things that you don't have proper legal authority for, you're no longer covered, and now you get sued in your personal capacity. So I'm only sharing that with you because if she goes off the deep end and starts imposing these things, and you just kind of mindlessly go along and enforce it, it can become a big issue. And I can tell you that as a private citizen in this town and in this county, I plan to run it up a flagpole.
You have every right, and I respect your right to do that.
Okay. So, assuming that the mask mandate...
I was called out of the 911 meeting, and I really need to get back.
Okay.
Steve, I mean,
Scott.
I do. Or Scott, I'm sorry.
No problem.
I said Steve. I apologize. I need to get back, and I'm not trying to push you off.
I understand.
We have some stuff going on with the 911.
That's fair.
And we need to get it. I need to be over.
That's fair. And the officer who, Robert, what is his name? Stephen Robert. Okay. All right. And so I'm just telling you, I'm here operating in good faith. I'm not trying to be a scumbag. I'm here several days in advance to announce to you that on Friday I'll be at Walmart without a mask, so we may be seeing each other again.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
All right. Thank you,
Chad.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.